Good day, and today we're having a quick look at the difference between strong verbs and weak verbs. So we've taken irregular verbs and put them into a bit of an outline for you here. And I've put them in the present, past, and past participle form to give you an idea of what strong verbs would look like and what weak verbs would look like. Again, these are the irregular verbs point. So when we look at our forms at the top of our outline, we have some strong verbs as examples. And the reason why we're looking at them as strong verbs is you can see in the present, the past, and the past participle, they're not changing as much as the other ones are below. So when we have the present to past, for example, of the word give, you're just changing the vowel from give to gave. In the past participle form, you're going to have the word given. You see it very similar with the other words take, break, shake, and wake. They all change a bit of their verbs from present to, their vowels from present to past tense. And then their past participle, you see an N stuck on the end of their verbs. As you can probably see from my outline, there are going to be quite a few weak verbs. Now, if you look at some of our weak verbs that we have, a lot of their past and past participles do not change their tense. So, for example, we have the word bring as our first weak verb. Its past tense is brought. We practically had to change every letter in that word in order to make it from present to past. But from the past to the past participle, we don't change any of the word at all. The vowels stay the same, the consonants stay the same. And you can see that happening in most of the other words. For buy, we're going to change it completely to the new word bought, and then the past participle stays the same, bought. We also have seek and sought. So when we look at all of our other words down the page, you're going to see a lot of changing happening in strong verbs and almost none happening in weak verbs. So how do we tell the difference? How do I know if I'm looking at a strong, irregular main verb? Well, if your main verb does not need a T, a D, or an ED to give its past and past participle forms, it's going to be a strong verb. And again, we take a look at some of the examples we had on the previous page. We're just going to take the word give and get an N on the end. We're going to take the word take and put an N on the end. Break, we're going to change one vowel and stick an N on the end to take it from break over to broken. Now, your weak verbs are generally main verbs that need a T or a D to give its past and past participle forms their actions. And so a main verb that might lose an E from its usual form to give the past and past participle is usually going to be a weak verb. For example, we're going to see read being changed over to read, and we are not going to change any of the letterings at all. There's not going to be an N stuck on the end of it. Bleed, you're going to lose the letter E to bled, and again, its past participle is going to stay the same. A verb that does not change its usual form in all three forms is also going to be called a weak verb. So the present tense of cut is going to change to the past tense of cut. There's absolutely no change whatsoever. Its past participle, it has or had cut. Same thing with set. It's going to be set. It's going to be put. They're not changing their forms. They're a weaker verb. And lastly, a main verb that needs an ED to form its past and past participle form is also going to be a weak verb. You're really not changing the verb again. All you're doing is adding an ED. For example, your present tense verb of walk. You're sticking an ED on the end for its past tense, and it becomes walked. And then you're going to have has or had walked. Again, the same verb. With render, it becomes rendered and rendered. So overall, when we look at weak verbs, you're really not changing much of the verb, if anything at all. Whereas a strong verb, your present tense, your past tense, and your past participle, you're going to see vowel changes, even lettering changes throughout. Thanks so much for stopping by for this quick look at irregular verbs, in particular for strong and weak verbs. If you'd like to learn more about verbs or about other parts of speech, please let me know down in the comments below what else you'd like to learn. Also, check out my channel here at Learning Language Arts. I've already covered several different parts of speech. Go check out some of the other videos I have. And as always, I'd appreciate it if you subscribed. Take care.